ET Live at Home. Hi, everybody. I'm Lauren Zima.
And I'm Denny Directo. We are still adjusting. You would think by week 4 we'd get the hang of working from home, broadcasting from home, bring you all that entertainment and pop culture goodness. But as you can tell, Lauren still's got a ways to go.
Listen, they want me to do. I mean, I bought a tripod off Amazon.
Listen, you look great. You sound great. Let's get into the stories we're going to be talking about today. I mean, Ariana Grande let out her ponytail and extensions and is rocking what I believe are naturally curly hair. Also, we're going to also spotlight a lot of celebs who are single but in quarantine and acting up. You got exes reconnecting. You got people still dating in the time of social distancing. And I know you also spoke to ET's relationship expert, so we'll give some advice there. What else we got?
And a big ending. We'll see how many people tune in for the Modern Family series finale airing tonight, Wednesday night. Plus, another show we're all obsessed with, Tiger King. I just spoke to the Tiger King first man, Dylan, Joe Exotic's husband. We will tell you what he said. Okay. Let's get to it, Denny. But, we always do our vibe check, and we kind of just did it with the technology. I got to tell you, the contrast of how we're all working and living right now, like, I don't know if you can see, I'm coming to you from the floor of the bedroom.
I was going to say, is that a bed behind you?
This is the bed.
Okay.
I'm up here on the second floor today because my boyfriend, Chris Harrison, he's downstairs doing interviews to promote his new Bachelor show, Listen to Your Heart. And by the way, let me tell you, not always, great to hear everything that someone says about your relationship to other press outlets.
Okay, well, welcome to my boyfriend's life. Like, we literally talk about him once a week on the show. He's become a supporting character. Hi, babe. Thank you so much for being so cool. I only have one floor, so there's nowhere else to escape.
You're right. I'm grateful for my floor, and I'm on the floor, and it's like we are still doing this glamorous job that we love so much. But as I showed you guys, I'm just trying to figure out, all of the tech of it all, and we're fine. Just keep drinking coffee.
Just keep drinking coffee for now. Wine later. 5 o'clock is around the corner. Your cords are as tangled as Ariana Grande's hair. I was trying to find a transition. I don't know if that worked. I don't even know if it was really tangled, but let's talk about Ari. She revealed and showed off this beautiful head of hair that was really curly. Of course, we're used to the iconic straight high ponytail from Miss Grande, but I was here for it.
I love it. On the one hand, I was thinking, I wish I'd seen it sooner because it's so beautiful. On the other hand, I love Ari's ponytail. It is iconic. It is her signature look. So I think this is just, I guess, whether forced by the quarantine and not being able to access hairstylists and weave expert extraordinaires, whether forced by that or not, I think this is the next phase of Ariana's style evolution. My prediction is she's going to keep the natural hair for a minute. And, the people who have the most longevity in their careers are people who continue to reinvent themselves. So this is just a next step for Ari to me.
What's amazing, though, is that Ariana's hair has been on a journey. Let's not forget when it was dyed so red for her Nickelodeon show. And she even said that that's the reason why she keeps it in a ponytail, is because that job, the dye job and also the gig, really messed up her hair. And so she has to do it. It's the only thing that looks good. But I do love that she's kind of letting it relax and letting it all natural. I'm here for it. I'm not convinced that she's going to keep it. I think she'll definitely keep it throughout quarantine. I think, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it has worked for her, that ponytail and the straight hair. But a lot of people were digging it, including Katy Perry. Did you see she pleaded with Ari, please keep this once we're done with quarantine, because it is gorgeous.
See, I love it. And I know that a lot of celebrities do that wig thing, especially singers when they're performing, just because it is so much better for your hair to not be dyeing it and putting heat on it all the time. Yeah, I mean, Dolly Parton invented that concept. I mean, girl's been rocking a wig for how long? Yeah. But in terms of performing, I mean, but the thing about, again, Ari is, even at this young age, she's already had so many chapters. It's like she was in Madonna's, bustier phase. Now she's going to be moving into the next chapter. That's what this is. And
I love it. If she's ever self-conscious about it, I think this is probably going to give her a little boost of confidence because people loved it. Let's talk about some other celebs who are also drastically changing their hair in the time of quarantine. Carson Daly just shaved his head. I'm not talking a buzz cut. He shaved it. You can see the scalp. He's bald. His hair's gone. He did it
I
as a, what do you think?
It is just so unsettling to me only because I think about, like, have you ever seen a guy who shaved his head with a razor and he like accidentally cut himself and was bleeding in the back or something? That's all I think about because
Why?
it's just the idea of shaving one's own head just like really scares me, but it's not some I just like think about the danger factor of it. Did he do it himself entirely or did his wife help? She
No,
just
so
had a
his
baby.
his kid helped, and he was doing it as a live segment on the Today Show with Chris Appleton, who's done Ari's hair, J Lo, and
Okay.
and Katy Perry's. He was trying to coach him through it. He lost connection, so he was just on the phone. You can tell Carson was getting a little frustrated with it, and then cut to the Instagram post where it's just all gone. And he's like,
What
"Thanks to Chris Appleton for the tutorial."
What a time to lose connection. It's like, oh, my internet is not working. Really? Because the razor is against my skin.
Don't do it as a live segment. I sent out what stories we're going to cover today, and someone was like, "You should have your boyfriend shave your hair." I let him cut the sides, but I'm also not going to do it live. Okay,
You want
that's
to
just
talk
asking
about a
for trouble.
way to take a quick step to a Corona breakup. That's what that
You said it. But yeah, Carson shaved his head with the help of his kid. Tallulah Willis shaved her head with the help of her dad,
I
Bruce.
know it's kind of the reversal. I applaud Carson for the bravery on your child getting involved. With Tallulah, I feel she was imploring a real expert here. How long has Bruce Willis been rocking a shaved head? I mean, if anybody's going to do it, he knows.
I don't know if you remember this, but famously at the premiere of G.I. Jane, when Demi Moore and Bruce Willis were together, the entire family shows up. They all have the G.I. Jane buzz cut. I mean,
Honestly, the Willis
iconic.
Moore clan was doing this long before they needed to be.
I'm
So
glad they are. And it's so funny because we were talking about them yesterday in the matching pajamas in quarantine, and we weren't sure like if they were actually quarantined together. We finally have confirmation thanks to Tallulah. She responded to a fan in that photo, Lauren. I know we had this question, but apparently Bruce and Demi and the kids have been quarantined together for at least 27 days, which is
wow.
crazy. Yeah, and they're not the only exes who are reconnecting while
Wait,
we're all
did they say if his wife Emma
no.
is there and their kids?
Thank you for bringing that up. It's unclear if Emma and their two daughters have also been part of the quarantine. I can't imagine that Bruce would be like in the house with his ex and with his daughters without his wife, because his wife also commented on that pajama picture saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, these never look so good. Like everything's cool." So I think it's a blended family just taking up housing together in quarantine. Tell that to Ramona Singer. Isn't she not quarantining with what's her husband's name again?
Mario.
Ex-husband
Yes.
Mario Singer.
Do we have a little sound? Let's play a little bite of my interview with Ramona.
Mario and I have this intensely wonderful relationship right now. It evolved. And I always give everyone the advice once they get divorced or whatever happens with their marriage that they, for the sake of their children, they should have a bond. And our bond has gotten really great. We still flirt a little together, but there's nothing romantic going on.
Okay, so Real Housewives of New York star Ramona Singer, and that show just premiered its new season last week.
Yeah.
Thank God, we needed the new content. So she has been split up from Mario for years, and they had a bad breakup, Denny. He had an affair, okay?
Right. Even
It
I knew
was
that.
contentious, yes.
Yeah.
So there were some flirtations between them on recent seasons. Like, okay, they still have that chemistry, and he's no longer with that woman that he had the affair with. But for them to just go ahead and move in together, and they only have one daughter to worry about, and she's college aged. It's not like they necessarily needed to like be together for her to like make sure she's all taken care of and good to go. But they did it. I asked Ramona why, and she just said, look, we're a family. We wanted to be together as a family. And I will say, I told her, Ramona, you say it right now. Are you telling me that there is no chance that you and Mario would ever get back together? She wouldn't say it.
She wouldn't say it?
And she's been bopping around that house in her lingerie, cleaning that house. I am all for it. I would love to see a reunion between them, if I'm being honest, as a longtime New York stan. I think they always had
Really?
that fire.
She is making quarantining with your ex-husband look really fun. I don't know how she's doing that, but she's not the only celebrity who's reconnecting with an ex during this time. Did you see Jennifer Aniston commented on John Mayer's Instagram Live?
Denny, I sent out the email. I sounded the alarm when I saw it.
You did?
Yes.
It's everything.
Because even when Jennifer Aniston just leaves a couple of emojis on an Instagram live, to me, that is news. And I am here. And I think Jen's somebody who we've seen it. She's talked about it. Like, she stays on pretty good terms with her exes. Her and Justin Theroux still hang a little bit. She and Brad Pitt saw each other all awards season long. Her and John Mayer broke up years ago. Like, she's mature about all that stuff. But I didn't know she was tuning into the lives. I guess in the quarantine times, everybody's on their phone quite a lot. We know all of our screen time is up. And maybe that includes popping in, seeing what your ex is doing.
Listen, it's people get tempted. People get tempted. And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to put my boyfriend on blast again because we were playing a drinking game. We played Truth or Dare. He dared me to slide into the DMs of someone I once was like dating. And that person responded so quickly and followed up the next day when I left him on red. People are plugged into their phones. They don't care who they're getting connection and conversations with.
You guys are playing some dangerous games.
He knows I love him. It's fine. But like, I'm just saying, people are, they're more open now than ever. Okay. And all I'm saying is I hope that Jen Aniston, there's a world where she is paying Brad Pitt a little visit, because Melissa Etheridge on Watch What Happens Live said that, she loved Brad and Jen together and that they were beautiful and they will
She's
always
a longtime friend.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Well, on John's Instagram, he was just doing that like current mood show that he does. He was performing a little song and talking about Bill Withers, who just passed away, and just kind of saying some nice words about Bill and poking a little fun at himself and how much smarter Bill was than him. So Jen just responded with, a couple little laugh crying emojis. But I think that means she was really watching. I would like to see Jen get back with Brad before John, I will say.
I agree with you. But again, like this whole idea that these are just a few examples of like people kind of reconnecting with either past relationships. And it's just because, I don't know, quarantine makes you feel really isolated, whether you're with someone or not. And Gayle King even talked about how daunting it is to be single during quarantine. Because she was actually talking to The Talk and was like, okay, I don't have any problem being single before this, but now that I don't have any, interaction with my kids or my family, like it can feel really isolating. But then there's people like Rita Ora, who I just talked to, and she played it coy, but she teased that she may or may not be talking to someone and pursuing them right now. But I'm like, how complicated does it get during quarantine? Here's what she had to say. Rita, are you like on any dating apps right now? Are you talking to anyone online?
I don't know if I cannot confirm or deny
that you're single.
That I don't know what's happening right now. I know that I'm not. I know that I'm interested in a scenario, so I'm keeping it open. I'm keeping it very like pressure free. I'm not really focusing on anything like that. I'm just letting it happen. I'm just letting it go.
I love that. But does coronavirus and this kind of like pandemic right now make things a little more difficult to like pursue a guy or a relationship?
I think boredom is the devil.
Yeah.
I also believe that, sometimes you do things out of boredom. And so I'm very good at discipline. I think that's one of my traits that I have. I'm very sort of like focused and disciplined when it comes to not doing things because I'm bored or because I need entertainment. So, I don't know. I've just got to wait and see what happens. I'm also a little bit picky. I think that's my problem.
Hey, listen, again, people are at home on their phones. It's not out of this world to be on a dating app, to be sliding into DMs, to text, to FaceTime, to call. Like, now's the time to do it. There might be an advantage to it.
So this brings up an interview I just did with Matthew Hussey. He's a relationship expert, big following on Instagram, and he does ET's Thursday segments on Entertainment Tonight's broadcast. He will be on Thursday night, this new interview I did with him. So check it out because he had so much to say. He really, I'll be honest, I kind of used it as my own little therapy session. I said, I know I'm not paying you for this. I know I'm interviewing you, but can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah.
He had so much good stuff to say. And just to kind of tease it and talk about a couple things, he hit that topic of, is it a good idea to start dating right now? Because look, everybody's been online dating and dating through dating apps for years, right? But to me, the danger of online dating and what I always sort of advise my friends is like, you can't keep just messaging, DMing, and interacting in those apps for too long. You have to graduate to a face-to-face interaction because otherwise it's easy for people to kind of see you as not real. Like I feel like they could start ghosting you and
Mhm.
focus on other people. And you've got to really see if that connection is there. So you can't do that
Absolutely.
now. And I said, Matthew, like, what do people do? Is now a good time to really even date? And he said, look, there are pros and cons. He sees one big pro as being, in this time, you do have more of people's attention because they're at home, and
Mhm.
you can really, really get to know somebody without the physical component being a part of it at all. So you're going to develop a deep connection. However, he pointed out, as you said, Denny, we're all kind of lonely right now. So he just said, make sure, really put your spidey sense up about whether somebody or even yourself is becoming too connected to someone because you're craving an emotional
Absolutely.
bond. But Matthew has, he's so great because he really gets into the step-by-step. He literally gave me the wording of a text you could write out to somebody as you're trying to flirt with them during the quarantine. And he had so many good ideas. So don't miss
Yeah.
Thursday on ET, because the things this man thinks of, it's amazing.
Meanwhile, oh man, I can't believe this is actually happening. But after 11 seasons, we are finally saying goodbye to Modern Family. The series finale of the long-running ABC comedy show airs tonight. And if you can believe it, ET has been with them from the very beginning. But before we get into that amazing throwback and flashback, Eric Stonestreet and Ty Burrell previewed the end of the series when they chatted with ET. Take a look.
In that last take, we were fortunate enough with our production that the last scene of Modern Family was also the last scene we ever shot. So they lined it up that way, specifically for us, and to let us say goodbye in that way. And it was a beautiful moment. And looking around at all those kids who'd spent their whole childhood with us, it was very hard, very, very emotional. I start to get worked up about it now.
It's the first time in my life as an actor that the director and Chris Lloyd, who was the showrunner and was running the show that day, came out and had to say, like, could you guys cry less? Like, could everybody, normally you're kind of having, you're working to generate that emotion. And they were like, right when we say action, you start crying, and then you guys just cry through the entire scene.
Can you believe it's the end? I don't know about you, but I actually stuck with it. I watched it. All 11 seasons.
What I've always loved about Modern Family is you can dip in and out. Like, you can tune into any episode and you laugh and you know the characters. I haven't consistently watched it all these years, but it kind of blew my mind when I heard you say 11 years, more than a decade. I mean, I've talked to Sarah Hyland because Chris and I hang with her and or her boyfriend Wells Adams from The Bachelor a little bit. And I said, Sarah, like, the amount of life changes you've gone through, because they're shutting the show down. She's trying to plan a wedding, but oh wait, who knows what's happening with anybody's wedding because of the quarantine. She's quarantined. It's just crazy. Like, that cast, those kids knew everybody from such a young age. It really is this family. I think they always call, like, Julie and Sophia kind of their second moms and stuff like that. So it's emotional for them and for everybody who has felt like that's an extension of their family.
Totally. And you talk about Sarah and like her growth there. That's the most mind-boggling thing when you look at a show like Modern Family, that's been on the air for so long, is the children. They literally were little tiny tots, like little babies, and and these young folk, and now they're like full grown adults. It's kind of wild to watch. And that's why it's amazing to dip into the ET vault, because ET was on the set of Modern Family that first year. And we thought it'd be fun to take a look back at some of the cast interviews from the very first time on ET. Take a look.
So what was it like when you guys heard the news that you guys were going to be on the show?
I started screaming and crying and running around the perimeter of my house.
It was really awesome. Like, even my whole family was freaking out, like, especially my dad. He was calling up everybody I know. Oh my gosh, my son's gonna be on a pilot with Ed O'Neill. Ah! When I booked it, I was in the car. I was like, oh my God, I booked it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could barely see it too.
Look how little they were.
I know. It's crazy. I'm sure they just love that we have all that footage. Like,
it's kind of cool to look back on, though, right? Like,
I know, it's just like, here's you at your most awkward time. Everybody,
I love it. Okay, so finally, I was waiting and dying to get to this, Lauren. You just spoke to Dylan from the Tiger King. I feel like you are racking up these interviews and getting the Tiger King tea. What is the latest?
Okay, so Dylan Passage, if you guys don't remember, was Joe Exotic's most recent husband when he went to jail. So Dylan is in his 20s. He's living in Florida now. And of course, Tiger King blowing up has totally changed his world. Take a quick look at the interview. What's the status of your relationship with Joe now?
We are still married. And, you know, we talk quite frequently, except, you know, he was just moved different facilities and has been in his little isolation period. So, you know, we're not able to talk as much, but tomorrow he gets all his phone privileges back and he's out of his little isolation. So it's going to be good and back to normal.
So Joe was in isolation. Was that because of coronavirus concerns? And does he have COVID-19?
So he does not have COVID-19, but at the previous facility he was at, there were multiple cases. And so when he got moved, I think it was just like a safety precaution for this new facility in Fort Worth to just keep him isolated just in case he did have it. So he wasn't going to pass it on to anybody else.
So Joe Exotic has moved to a new facility. He was isolated because of coronavirus. He does not have it. But what's wild about that is, you know, Dylan told me he hasn't spoken to him in days. So all of this stuff is happening in Joe Exotic's life, but because he's been in isolation, he doesn't even know all the latest of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Dylan said that what's next is they are going to participate in Investigation Discovery's new show that they're going to start filming about Tiger King. And well, about the Tiger King, Joe, and that is going to look back at Joe and Dylan's lives kind of before everything went really, really sideways. Although, as we know, the original Tiger King started one way and ended another. So we'll see.
And the story is still developing.
Still developing. Dylan had nothing good to say about Jeff Lowe.
I bet.
And said that he and Joe will not be participating in this new apparent reunion episode that we are going to get. Dylan said that they wanted to sign away too much of what he felt like was the rights to like Joe's name and likeness in this agreement, so he wouldn't sign it. And that he felt like Joe needed to be part of it, but that he was told they were on this certain schedule and Joe was still in isolation, so Joe couldn't be part of it. So kind of wild, but Joe Exotic will apparently not be part of this new Netflix episode of Tiger King that we are getting, which, by the way, is made by different filmmakers than the original series.
Right. I'm just amazed that Dylan's still standing by Joe. Like, one, they're still married, it sounds like, right? And then two, that he's not backing down. Like, I feel like, especially after this docuseries dropped, I would kind of be questioning Joe's motives, whether or not he's seriously in love with me, like if I was Dylan, you know? So I'm kind of shocked to hear just how much he's still defending his guy.
I said that same thing to him, that the consistent thing in the interview was he kept saying he was going to stay by Joe's side. Wow. And Dylan did tell me that they have an arrangement where if Joe essentially is going to fulfill those 22 years in prison, if his appeal doesn't go through, if he can't get out of there, that they've had a discussion and that Joe doesn't want Dylan to be alone for those next 20 years. And so they will
eventually
explore other options. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. Explore other options.
I know. There was so much good stuff in that interview. He talked about what could potentially be coming for more from the footage that Joe had in all those storage lockers of his, tons of stuff. So that interview is going to be up fully at etonline.com. But the Tiger King saga, we know this, is far from over.
Oh my God, this is so exciting. As you guys can tell, we are still continually like interviewing people from our homes, from their homes, wherever they're coming to. And so make sure you guys stick with ET Online and ET Live for all this amazing goodness. I know I just talked to Rita Ora, and that's going to be up later this week. Have some more stuff from Jay Shetty. I mean, we're still doing the damn thing, huh, Lauren?
Yeah, no, we're getting it. We're getting it all done.
We're figuring it out.
Let me just prepare for my next interview.
Plug it in. All right, you guys. Until then, until tomorrow, we'll see you later. Cheers.
Bye, Denny.
Bye, Lauren.